Sage Steele has some interesting takes about being black or maybe not being black. We'll talk about it after the bumper. Stay tuned. What's good people? Jeff Lights Jr. here with the Black Boss Channel and Victory Formation. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, and the notification bell because we upload every single day. And don't forget, don't meet me there, beat me there at the All Black National Convention down in Orlando, Florida at the Omni, October 29th, November 1st. Get your tickets now at allblacknationalconvention.com. That is allblacknationalconvention.com. So today, we are here to talk about Sage Steele. Now, for those of you who don't know, Sage Steele is a woman who has a white mother and a black father, and she is currently and has been for the better part of 2 decades, for a very long time, employed by ESPN. She's a Sports Center anchor, and she has always been controversial. And here's what I mean when I say that. Sage Steele is clearly more along the conservative lines. So anytime you're of mixed, we'll call her mixed descent, mixed race, and you're more of on the conservative side, you tend to get some backlash. Fair or not fair, that's what happens. But Sage says things that are very interesting. Let's just put it like that. Very interesting. And I'll dive into we'll play some clips of Sage. But Sage has always straddled this line of she doesn't know if she should consider herself black or white because her mom's black and her mom's been just as integral to her life as her black father. But she's said some disparaging remarks about her black father and about black people in the past. And she's done some questionable things even on television. So I had to give you a little backstory just in case you didn't have no idea who Sage Steele was. And let me go ahead and show you a picture of Sage Steele or some images of Sage Steele so you can put a face with a name, right? This is Sage Steele. Let me share my screen so you can know, so we can all be on the same page collectively, right? Let's all make sure we're on the same page collectively. So this is Miss Sage Steele. She works for ESPN. Nice looking woman, right? Like so all is fair. All is fair. But Sage had some interesting things. As I said earlier, Sage is more along the conservative lines. So ESPN employees had to get the jab. They had to get the jab. It was mandatory. If they didn't get the jab by September 30th, boom, they were getting a boot. They were out of there. And so Sage was very much so against getting the jab and has spoken out drastically. She's spoken out, a lot about getting the jab and how she felt like that was unfair and felt like all of this stuff. And so that was her thing. She said it was her body, her choice. And hey, I agree with her. But if you're employed by someone and there's a mandate, then guess what? You got to follow it. And that just is what it is. And so she was very upset about that. But she has some interesting things to say about being a mixed woman and being considered black, right? So I'm going to play for you a clip. She was on a podcast with a former NFL player, Jay Cutler, who was very much so right-winged, very much so MAGA, very much so like along those lines. And hey, to each his own. I'm not going to show you the clip, but I'll let you listen to it. We'll listen to it together. And then we'll talk about it. Let's let it rip. Okay. Okay. So this is Sage on filling out her census and whether mixed people like herself and former President Barack Obama should be considered black. Let's listen.
When you fill out your census, I'm like, well, I don't know when the last time I filled out my census was, but if they make you choose a race, she's like, what are you going to put? I go, well, both. She's like, well, you can't. He goes, well, what if Barack Obama chose black and he's biracial? I'm like, well, congratulations to the president. That's his thing. I go, I think that's fascinating considering his black dad was nowhere to be found, but his white mom and grandma raised him. But hey, you do you. I'm going to do me.
That was woo, that is some stuff right there. Okay. I am going to play for you a clip of my one of a friend of the show and my buddy, Mr. Robert Littal from Black Sports Online. Hey, check out Black Sports Online, man. They do a lot of dope stuff over there. And I'm gonna play for you what Robert had to say about Sage, and then I'll get into my thoughts on Sage. So here is Mr. Robert Littal from BSO. Let's tap in.
Stephen A. Smith said something crazy about another cultural player, unless it's Kwame Brown, but that's a video for another day. He is forced to apologize. When Jemele Hill said accurate information about a white president, ESPN suspended her. When Rachel Nichols got caught in 4K talking about the company's trash diversity record, they sent her to Bolivia, never to be seen again. So why is it different for Sage Steele? For a good 6 years now, Steele has been public and loud, talking shit about black women, black men, black athletes, black presidents, unarmed black kids who get shot by the cops, Kaepernick, her black co-workers, Black Lives Matter, her own black dad, Muslims, immigrants, protesters, and now the damn company that she works for. No one at ESPN says a thing. Sage is also a snitch. After she was left out of a discussion about being black in America, for obvious reasons, she ran to the New York Times to say she was being discriminated against. The one thing she isn't lying about is being the Candace Owens of ESPN, because that's exactly what Owens would do. The difference is Candace is a scammer who is faking for clout and cash. Sage actually believes this. So the question begs, why no statement from ESPN? Why no punishment? The answer is simple. The ism that major companies care about the least is racism. And what they care about even less is black on black racism. Sage is black, no matter how she tries to deny it. And talking down about black people, ESPN doesn't care about that. See, what white people in power love to see are other black people doing this type of work for them. They love to see black people turn down other black people. They sit and laugh at us at the bar with Urban Meyer and his blonde. So as long as Sage sticks to talking bad about us, ESPN will turn a blind eye. FYI, the reason Sage got vaccinated was because she needed that check. She needed the check because even her white ex-husband doesn't like her either. He left her high and dry, and he's getting that fat alimony check. Salute to you, my white brother.
Ooh, so strong words from Robert. The alimony and the divorce and all that stuff, I don't know nothing about that. But all the stuff that he was talking about is very much so true. It's very true. Sage has talked about the Muslim ban. Sage has talked about all kinds of stuff along the political sphere. And nothing's really ever happened to her, right? She's never gotten really suspended. She got demoted one time, I think, when she did the Muslim thing. So Sage was either in Los Angeles or living in Los Angeles or traveling during Los Angeles when like the Muslim ban took place. And I remember they were like blocking the streets out there in LA. And Sage went on Instagram and was pissed, right? Just like, get these damn Muslims out the way, basically. Like, I'm trying to get somewhere and y'all blocking the interstate. And so, yeah, that didn't go over well, and I think she got demoted for a little bit. But she's never been forced to apologize. She's never been forced to do anything. Jemele Hill got booted when the thing with Trump happened. Rachel Nichols got booted when the thing with the girl that's now on NBC, Maria Taylor. Shout out to Maria Taylor. Maria Taylor happened. And Sage Steele has been sitting comfy in her ESPN seat for a good 10 to 15 years. And it is exactly what he's saying. It's exactly because when you have the Negro naysayer, the gatekeeper, the butter biscuit eater, all of those things, even if people consider ESPN liberal, right? Even if they consider ESPN left wing or whatever, it's a lot easier to allow the black on black violence or the black on black fighting at each other, picking at each other, whatever, than it is anything else. Robert brought up a special ESPN was doing, and it was put together. The main two people that was putting it together was Elle Duncan, another black lady on ESPN, and Bryant Eves, right? And they put together this, like, it was right when the George Floyd thing happened. There was no sports. And so there was a lot of like, you need some content fillers. And George Floyd had just been killed, RIP. And they wanted something to put on their airways. So Elle and Bryant and Eves put together a lot of their black ESPN colleagues and had different people to say different things. And they left Sage out for, like what Robert said, obvious reasons. Sage is not on the side of the people. I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, whatever, but she is not someone we would consider B1. She is not B1. She don't even consider herself black. She just said, when I fill out the census, I put both, which I would assume makes the census null and void because they don't even know who the hell they're talking to. But still, I mean, Sage, still, like, you cannot make these things up, people. When you have people in positions of power or with a platform, I'm not going to consider Sage being an ESPN anchor or a position of power, really. It's just a person with a platform, right? You have a person with hundreds of thousands of people that is able to see them on television. Someone who has hundreds of thousands of people that follow them on Instagram or Twitter. Sage has 194,000 Twitter followers. So that means she has an audience, some kind of audience, whether we love it, hate it, or indifferent. And you have them going out there spewing this out to people. You get applause from white people. You get what Tariq and Vicky Dillon call butter biscuits, which are promotions and high salaries to talk down on your people. Whether you want to believe they're your people or not, they're your people, Sage. You're black. Because if anything super controversial, if you get into some trouble, best believe they're going to put your black ass with the black people. They'll throw you in there. They're going to break you back to reality real quick. All these folks that act like they're not black, and they can be Democrat or Republican, whatever. And political affiliation has nothing to do with this. But they get humbled really, really fast. Ask OJ. Hell, ask Larry Elder. Ask all these people. It don't matter what side of the political spectrum you fall under. When something happens, you realize you black real fast. And the only people that'll be out to help you are the people that look like you. All these white buddies that you're shucking and jiving with, they ain't gonna be the ones fighting for you. You're gonna be looking for folks that look like you. And Sage is definitely welcome with the black community. But it's interesting, like Robert put it so eloquently, that she is allowed to do all of these things and talk bad about the company. Not just talk bad about the employees of the company or former employees of the company, but she gets to talk about ESPN directly. They're scary, the work environment that I live in, because they're forcing me to get this jab that I don't want. And everybody at ESPN is just super, super quiet. It's just crazy, man. Like, if you don't see what's taking place, you just don't want to. If you don't see what's taking place, how they pit each other, they send someone that looks like us but ain't for us. They look like the community. They you know what I'm saying? They look like black. They look like our people. All skin folk ain't kinfolk though. Cause Sage could give a damn less. Ain't a less a damn she could give about being black, clearly. And they prop these people up and put them on television and try to get them to convince you that you shouldn't care about being black neither. That's how you continue to run in the same hamster wheel. And you wonder why certain things happen. That's why they happen. I gotta go. I got somewhere to be, but man, hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, and register for the All Black National Convention, because there we'll be talking about real issues like this, and you will be with like-minded people that actually want to uplift the community and not pretend like the community doesn't exist. I'm Jeff Lightsey Jr. with the Black Boss Channel and Victory Formation. Thank you for tuning in.